cow's tortured brow, that Mickey Mouse has grown up the cow. Now the workers have struck for fame, 'cause Lennon's on sale again. See the mice in their million hordes, from Ibiza to the Norfolk Broads. Rule Britannia is out of bounds, to my mother, my dog and clowns. But the film is a sad thing more, 'cause I wrote it 10 times or more. It's about to be writ again, as I ask you to vote for some sailors fighting in the dance hall. Oh man, look at those cavemen go. It's the freakiest show. Take a look at the low man beating up the wrong guy. Oh man, wonder if you'll ever know who's in the best-selling show. Is there life on Mars?
Good morning, boys and girls. You are where you want to be. You are where you absolutely need to be. Iron Bruce's Perfect Picks. As always, peeps, we have done the homework. We have done the research. We have spent hours upon hours in the film room, leaving no stone unturned to get you the nuggets, to get you the information so valuable, so critical, so crucial to the outcome of these games. You cannot afford to miss a second. 15 ginormous games on the docket today. We are going to get to them all. We are going to cover them all. Jam-packed mailbag. We got the big board. We got the birthdays. We've got it all. We've got it all. Huge show. Don't get nervous. Plenty of time to get to the window. But before we get to all of that, let's introduce you to the crew. Behind the glass and spinning the dials, our executive producer is Maddie Shershot Aldershaw. Our technical producer is the Loch Ness Mobster. Sound check technician in the house, telling us we are green light and good to go. DMAC 14. As always, peeps, our lines are brought to you unofficially by Bet365. Know your limit and play within it. Brought to you again this year by ScriptoBall.com. You regs know the drill. For you newbies, and you are legion. You go to the site, you check in with the lovely Elsa. She will custom design, and on the varsity team, she will custom design your ball specifically just for you. ScriptoBall.com. When your balls just have to be scriptoed. Brought to you again this year proudly by the award-winning BarryUncovered.ca. Told you before, I'm going to tell you again. There's only one site you need. You erase your browser history, BarryUncovered.ca. Anything you want to know that's going on in the city of Barrie, in the county of Simcoe, it's all happening there. Don't let the fourth wave scare you. It's not scaring them. All kinds of stuff for you to do and see. BarryUncovered.ca. And this year, Infinity Printing. Yes, my friends, we've talked about the fourth wave. It's coming. Nobody cares. Everything's opening back up. If you are in charge of promotional items at your place, you've got to go to Infinity. That's where you got to go. It's where I go. Infinity Print. Now we got to, we got to push our sponsors along here fast. I've told we've got to be concise today. I'll tell you why. But it's Infinity Printing, Infinity and beyond. All right, that's going to take care of the legal beagles. We have to be super concise today. You know what? We're going to do our announcements first. Then we're going to get to the big board review. Then we're going to do the birthdays, because one announcement here is so important that our friend and great producer, Maddie Shershot Aldershot, such a gamer, 18th wedding anniversary with the lovely Megan, but he's still here. He's spinning the dials, but we got to be concise. We got to get him out of here. They got something special planned. And normally I don't really care what Shershot's up to, but this is more about Megan than it is about Shershot. So we're going to be super concise today and get you out of here as fast as we can. Don't forget now, you can pick us up on YouTube at Iron Bruce's Perfect Picks. We also have ironbruce.com, where you get into the mailbag, and anything that's happening on the show is happening there. And in our merchandise section, just released, I'm being told, hot off the press, in time for your Xmas gift giving season, we now have a Minute with the Mobster t-shirts available as well. The Iron Bruce ones are selling out fast. You don't want to disappoint people. Get on the site, order now. All right, time for the big board review. Let's go back through the mists of time to a place we call last week. All right, so we had 3 for you on the big board last week, 2 and 1. So nice little bounce back from our 1 and 2 week 1. And, oh, peeps, half a point away from a 3-0 big board. How much of a heartbreaker was that? But 2 and 1 on the week, 3 and 3 on the season, trending in the right direction. What did we give you last week? We gave you the Denver Broncos -6 versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. We gave you, and this was the heartbreaker, we gave you the LA Rams less 3.5 against the Indianapolis Colts. Geez, tough crowd. We only lost that one by a half. And we gave you how about them Cowboys +3 against the Lightning Bolts.
Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
All right, so that'll do it for the big board review. 2 and 1. Good week for the peeps. And we'll hope we're just doing more homework. We're doing more research. We just hope things are going to get better and better for the peeps. All right, let's get to our birthday announcements. We got 2 in the house today. Our good friend Jim O'Neill celebrates a birthday today. I think it's today. Happy birthday to you, Jim. And we also have Dan Gauthier, another birthday boy who is in the house. Happy birthday to both of you. Many, many more. And the peeps always keep asking me, Iron, how do I get the shout out for a birthday or for an out? It's so simple. I've told you already. It's ironbruce.com. You go into the mailbag. We get them all. We read them all. Give us your announcements, your picks, your pans, what you like, what you don't. Get them all, and we read them all. Happy birthday to everybody. All right, so that gets us to the jam-pack mailbag again this week. We love it. Keep them coming, peeps. Get them all. We read them all. What do we got for you this week? We've got, before we do that, hang on.
Wait, oh yes, wait a minute.
So, first shot. Let's try that again.
Oh yes, wait a minute, Mr. Postman. Wait, hey, Mr. Postman.
Yeah, sure shot. You seem to be having a little trouble getting on the stick with the Postman song. So, I gave you a pass on week 1. It's week 3. Let's get it together, buddy. I know you got other things on your mind. Still got a show to do here. Let's be professional, shall we? All right, what do we got for you in the mailbag today? The Woodman. Nobody really knows who he is, but the Woodman, regular listener, occasional contributor. Asked yours truly, is the injury to Big Ben's left pec going to spell disaster for the Steelers today against the Bengals? Woodman, Big Ben's about as tough as they come. He's going to be out there. Does that spell disaster? Can't give away that segment just yet, as you know, but I'll let you know if I believe it will or not. Sure, I think that's actually our kickoff game, so you won't have to wait too long, Woodman, to know what impact that injury may or may not have. Mulder 1 regular listener, occasional contributor. Now, he's asking us a question, and I might keep this one for next week, and only because the answer's a little bit involved, and we are fighting the clock today because of our producer's wedding engagements. He wanted to know, how did I get interested in football, and then how did I become a premier handicapper? That one's going to take a bit of time, older one. I'm not going to forget you, but we're going to hold that one till next week when we got a bit more time and we can go into detail, because the fans may find it interesting. Well, they may not, but they're going to get it anyway. All right, our next one, Mighty Mark, regular listener and contributor, big Bills fan. We know that. He's asking me, will I be backing the Bills again this week? I backed the Bills week 1 and week 2, and I used to get in trouble on this show a lot because they're kind of the hometown team based on where we broadcast from. And, people felt I never gave the Bills enough love. I've been on them twice already this year, and we're 1 for 1 if you're following that. Again, as the peeps know, can't give that segment away, but I will let you know soon enough, Mighty, if I'm backing your Bills again today. SMAC 222, one of the sharpest knives in the drawer. He wants to know, are the Colts that bad that they can actually go 0-3, and can they cover the line? Again, can't give the segment away, but no, they're not that bad. And could they go 0-3? Yeah, they definitely can go 0-3, but no, they're not that bad. Pretty tough sked. Week 1 against Seattle, Carson Wentz hadn't taken a snap since the year of the small potato. That was kind of tough. Then week 2, they get the LA Rams. They're supposed to be a Super Bowl team. Looks like them in Tampa, and that'll be a good one today. And now they go to face division rival Tennessee in 10. Tough sked. Could they go 0-3? Yeah, and we know, SMAC, and I know 0-3 starts are usually a death knell in this league. We'll see. Maybe the Colts can surprise, but Wentz, I hear he's a game-time decision, does not bode well for the Colts. And SMAC goes on to say that rookie QBs are getting their derriere served to them this year. He thinks the same thing will happen to Justin Fields today against the Cleveland Browns. No Appalachian State on the sked for Justin. You may be right. Again, can't give that segment away just yet. We'll see how we feel about that. Young Cole Edwards. Cole, as I mentioned on the show last week, Cole gave us his big board, and Coley went 3-0, by the way. And all I can tell you is this about that is I am thrilled for you. When I say on this show, may all your picks be winners, it's not a tagline. I actually, and that's great. And I don't care if you're 3-0 going with my stuff. I don't care if you're 3-0 going against my stuff. The idea is to enjoy the show, beat the books. That's what we're here for. Educate and illuminate. Good for you, Cole. And Cole mentions he's having a tough time filling out his big board. He's kind of torn between Zona and the Fish. Thinks there's going to be a big comeback for the Dolphins. We'll let you know what side of both of those games. But pay attention, Coley, because both of those games have gotten my attention this week. And our last one for you, good friend of the show, Go Home Bay, chimes in last week. He was out on the links on Sunday, but had the show playing the whole time he was. He knows he can't afford to miss a second. He's another bright bulb, to be sure, and apparently shot one of his best rounds of the year while listening to the show. Good for you. Go Home Bay. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this week's mailbag. Keep them coming, peeps. We get them all. We read them all. All right, boys and girls, you have heard the sultry tones of the pipes. That can only mean one thing, the triumphant return of A Minute with the Mobster. Mobster, week 3, and welcome back to the studio.
It's not as nice as last week. We're out in the grounds. This is kind of back into the shitty place now.
Well, we got Renos underway here, and the idiot producers are doing their best. All right, Mobster. The Tennessee Titans, Buffalo Bills, Green Bay Packers, and how about them Cowboys? All winning last week after 0-1 starts. Are you prepared to say that things are back to normal in the dun-dun-dun-dun, and the playoff favorites are back to where they need to be? Monster, your take.
I'm not going to be a ton about it, but I want to talk about something else. And it's to me with NFL, because I don't always talk about the NFL, because I didn't really care that much about them, so, but I'm going to talk about the NFL this time. And how many fucking spy gates do you have, or gates? You get the spy gate, the flake gate, the old English people, Northern English, no, New England, and you get Bounty Gate in New Orleans. What the hell was that? They didn't know what that was about. And they get Dogging Gate. Well, it's maybe Dogging Gate, but in Britain that means something else. But anyway, but Dogging Gate with Michael Vick. When I think he was prancing about with some dogs for a while, but I didn't care what it was all about. But anyway. And then we get Elevator Gate. But I don't really want to get into that one with Ray Rice. But anyway, he only had a kind of discussion with a woman in an elevator. And then the worst one, Trump Gate. That idiot used to run the country. Well, I think he ran the country. I think it was Melissa, or whatever you call his wife. And Kaepernick. He stopped him getting a fucking game. Who the hell is Trump? Anyway, where am I going with this? I don't care. But why is there so many gates in NFL? It's nothing to do with it.
I'm not really sure, Mobster, but from that we can assume that you are on the dogs this week. As always, peeps, this has been a Minute with the Mobster. What a great segment that was. I suppose all you can do now is close the gate on that episode. Mobster, my friend Sure Shot tells me is supposed to be out glad handing as you normally do right after your spot. You're hanging around the studio today.
Well, I've got anywhere else to go. See all that. The streets, it's getting cold out there.
That's true. That's part of this season, isn't it? Okay, well, we look forward to having you hanging around the studio today. And Mobster, please don't touch and put that down.
Oh, come on, get up here.
Oh, for the love of Jimmy. Sure Shot, keep your eye on him, please. All right, peeps. Week 3 in the 15 ginormous games on the docket today. We are going to get to them all. We are going to cover them all. Week 3 in the... All right, peeps, as mentioned, 15 ginormous games on the docket today. We are going to endeavor to be as concise as humanly possible. Big day for Sure Shot. And we're concerned about it. Like I said, we don't usually care, but we do today, so we're going to do our best to get through this one. We are going to answer the Woodman's question. Like I said, you would not have to wait long. Our first one today, AFC North affair. We've got the 1-1 Cincinnati Bengals traveling to Blitzburg to take on the equally 1-1 Steelers. Bet365, unofficial lines provider of Irons Perfect Picks, shows us that the Blitzburg opens at home as a 5.5 point favorite. The money is pouring in on the Bengals as if the fanboys and girls have already seen the final score. It is now Pittsburgh minus 2.5. You drop to that line by 3 points. Is it maybe Ben's Peck? Maybe a lot of cred for Cincinnati, and we're thinking the Bengals are getting a lot of cred in this matchup. Pittsburgh disappointing at home against Vegas last week. A little bit of luster off of them. Cincinnati, very sexy pick this year. We told you last week, Cincinnati going into Chicago. And it was a short price like this one, we were not prepared to endorse the Bengals as they are either winless or a 1 for. I meant to look that up, but they are either winless or a 1 for in the Joe Burrow era on the road. We couldn't take them last week, and we cannot take them again this week. The problem you've got with the Bengals is the offensive line. Burrow is going to be running for his life against a very good Steelers line. And we think Big Ben will be good enough to go. Should be able to put a few points on the board. Bengals are still a work in progress. They are not in the Steelers league just yet. And yeah, I know the Steelers aren't necessarily going to light the world on fire this, but they still got some pedigree. They're still a tough punch out at home until the Bengals win on the road. Now, can they compete in this game? Yeah, I think they can. Division rivalry. It'll be a tough affair. Pittsburgh's just got too much on the defensive side of the ball for me to be backing Joe Burrow with less than a field goal. We're going to lean to the Pittsburgh Steelers. until, like I said, the Bengals actually win one on the road. This is just too short. And remember, Peeps, last year, first half of the season, we were all over the Bengals because they were getting all kinds of points, and then Vegas finally figured that one out. Cincinnati's getting way too much cred. Again, this is another line short under 3 points. Until they win one on the road, we are back in the Pittsburgh Steelers. Give me Blitzburg, less 2.5. Get the check mark. All right, our next one is a double-digit spread for you. We've only got one of those this week. We can get through this in a hurry because we all know the rule of thumb. I'll explain it to the newbies just so that you know. We are here to educate and illuminate. The rule of thumb with a double-digit dog is you either take the points offered or you pass. Now, last week, your double-digit favorites went 2-1. That flattered them because the hot Atlanta Falcons were 3 behind the Tampa Bay Buccaneers halfway through the fourth quarter with 12.5 points in their back pocket. They gave up 2 pick sixes on the next 2 set of downs. That score flattered the Buccaneers, who barely got the cover in that matchup. Rule of thumb always applies. And don't forget, 6 years of doing this show, the double-digit dogs have won out, have made you money every year. And why is that? Because double-digit favorites, as we all know, they are wallet busters. They are money guzzlers. Everybody on, I haven't even introduced the game yet, have I? We've got the 0-2 New York Jets, Jets, traveling a mile high to take on the 2-0 Broncos. Bet365, unofficial lines provider of Irons Perfect Picks, shows us that the Broncos opened at home as a 10.5 point play. So money has trickled in on the JETSers, who now find themselves as a 10-point road pooch. We've covered that game for you, peeps, and we know everybody on the, say it with me, peeps, JETS, Jets, drive Cadillacs too.
It makes me feel like a king. I only need one thing, and that's to sing that Cadillac. Ooh, yeah.
So the rule of thumb applies to that one. You either take the JETSs plus the 10 or you pass. The New York JETS, Jets, get the check mark. All right, our next one for you is a good one. We've got the 1-1 Green Bay Packers traveling to San Francisco to take on the 2-0 4th and Niners. Bet365, unofficial lines provider of Irons Perfect Picks, shows us that San Francisco opened at home as a 3.5 point play. So money has trickled in on the Packers. It's now Green Bay plus 3. Here we go with San Francisco again. They're a quality football team on both sides of the ball. The defense is already getting injured and often, and they are missing some key personnel. On the flip side of that ball are the Packers, whose defense has been absolutely atrocious weeks 1 and 2, and they're supposed to be a half-decent unit. They have not shown up at all. Aaron Rodgers got right against the Lions last week, as expected. There are certain quarterbacks in this league that when you are given points, you have to take them. Aaron Rodgers is one of those. Now, in all fairness, if the 49ers defense was not as banged up as it already is 2 weeks into this, we'd be laying 3 with San Fran. We just think they're steadier on both sides of the ball. But when you're getting Aaron Rodgers and you're getting 3 and you're getting, now San Fran has been a graveyard for Rodgers and the Packers. He could get right there today. The defense of the 4th and Niners is severely injured. They are missing critical starters at critical positions. Aaron Rodgers could feast on that. And if the Packers defense, which is supposed to be a half-decent unit, actually shows up, Green Bay could put this one away fairly easily. But even if they don't, and this remains a close affair, you're getting Aaron Rodgers, you're getting 3 points. There's no other way to go here. Some of the quarterbacks in this league, you know, your Tom Brady types, your Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, you know the list of quarterbacks. When they are getting points, you have to take them. Give me Green Bay plus 3, get the check mark. All right, our next one. We've got the 2-0 Arizona Cardinals traveling to Jacksonville to take on the 0-2 Jaguars. Bet365, unofficial lines provider of Irons Perfect Picks, shows us that the Cardinals open on the road as a 7.5 point play. This line has not moved. It still inexplicably has not moved. It still sits at Zona less 7.5. We told you on this show The Jacksonville Jaguars defense is arguably one of the worst, if not the worst unit in the league. We know there was a lot of excitement with Trevor Lawrence coming in, but we told you week one against Houston. Jacksonville was a 3-point play. Jacksonville was, and we told you were insane. Yeah, you can't bet Jacksonville. They're terrible. And Lawrence, going back to SMAC 222's point, another rookie quarterback who has not done well in his opening 2 starts. Now, mind you, they played Denver, pretty tough defense. That's not the point. The point here is Jacksonville's defense is absolutely a train wreck. There has been no improvement there. Murray, on the other hand, with Arizona. Now, I know this is only week 3, but if you were starting an MVP conversation, he's at the top of that list. The Cardinals' defense has been a nice little surprise. Yep, they got a bit of a scare from the Rock Ribbers last week, but, that's a decent football team. Jacksonville is not. And I know, Lions, and those of you who've listened to this show know I'm not a big fan of laying big chalk on the road. You've got no options here. The Jaguars' defense is so bad, and the Cardinals' defense has been a very pleasant surprise. But DeAndre Hopkins, Murray, there's just too many weapons on the Arizona side of the ball. There's no way these guys trip up and fall asleep here. This one could get away from Jacksonville real fast. Now, 7.5, the back door's always open. That is a concern, but this should be double digits. There's no universe in which if Denver's spotting 10 to the JTSers, Arizona should be spotting at least that to Jacksonville. So you're actually getting, in my mind's eye, probably a free 3 points or so backing Arizona in this spot. Yeah, it's a lot of chalk on the road. I just don't see how Jacksonville hangs with these guys. I could see Murray just go, if you play fantasy football and I don't, I assume you're starting him under every format. This could get away from Jacksonville early and often. Give me Arizona, less 7.5. Get the check mark. All right, our next one. We've got the 1-1 Washington football team traveling to Buffalo to take on the equally 1-1 Bills. Bet365, unofficial lines provider of Iron's Perfect Picks, shows us that the Washington's open on the road as an 8.5-point play. The money is coming in on the football team, who now find themselves as a 7-point road pooch. I don't think the Bills fans are going to be overly excited with me on this one. Now, Buffalo has owned Washington over the years. They've done really, really well against those guys, and I get it. And how good did Buffalo look last week? 38-0 against Miami. Well, you know what we say on this show, and a big win, by the way, by the football team as well. You know what we always say on this show, you're never as good as you look one week. You're never as bad. So in other words, the Bills weren't as bad as they looked week 1 against Pittsburgh. They're not as good as they looked week 2 against Miami, but they're a quality football team. On the other side of the board, though, we got Taylor Heineke starting for we liked him last year, remember? When he got the start in the playoffs against Tampa Bay, we really liked him, and the Buccaneers, Super Bowl champs, by the way. The biggest scare they got the whole playoff run was against this Washington team, and why is that? Their defense is good. It's beyond good. It's very good. Now, Buffalo's okay unit too. Nothing wrong with them. And the Buffalo's offense pretty good. Are they 38-0 good? No, I don't think so on a weekly basis. And remember what I told you last week too about the Bills against Miami, 3.5 points? What I said was, this could be your last chance to get Buffalo cheap because of what happened in week 1. And was I ever right? 8.5 points. Super overreaction. Now, can Buffalo beat these guys by more than? Yep, probably. Yep, probably they can. But I think the football team, they've got some weapons on offense, too. And despite Buffalo pitching a shutout, don't forget Tua got knocked out early. That changed the whole dynamic of a football game. I'm going to take, and I know this won't be a popular pick, but, we're not here to make friends, although we've made tons of them. It's not what we're here for. We're here to make the peeps money. And the smart play is the Washington defense. That is a real good unit. They could cause the Bills some fits, not unlike the Steelers. No, am I saying Washington's going to win? No, I'm not saying that. But I'm saying they can comfortably lose by a converted touchdown. They can hang with the Buffalo Bills. Again, I know it's not the popular pick, but the homework tells us the Washington football team +7 get the check mark. All right, we got a lot of big spread games today. We've got the 1-1. The Bears traveling to the Dog Pound to take on the 1-1 Cleveland Browns. Bet365, unofficial lines provider of Iron's Perfect Picks, shows us that the Cleveland's open at home as a 7-point play. A little bit of money trickling in on the Brownies. They are now a 7.5-point favorite. Well, the Cleveland Browns, they're another sexy pick. And they're another team that you're going to, if you like them, you're going to have to lay extra points. And if you don't, you're going to get some bonus coverage out of those guys. Cleveland Browns have basically played about 2 good quarters of football this year, which were the opening 2 against the Kansas City Chiefs. They grossly underperformed last week at home against Houston. As a matter of fact, if Tyrod Taylor doesn't get knocked out of that game, they could have potentially lost that one outright. And the final score did not flatter them by any stretch of the imagination. We think that the Brownies are sort of underperformed. Now, you're talking about injuries at quarterback. Baker Mayfield, dislocated left shoulder. Now, I get it, it's not the throwing arm or he wouldn't be playing. But that can't be pleasant on any play that you are going to make. We know the Bears can still play a little bit of defense. If they can get a couple of helmets on him early, that could be a game changer. The Browns' offense has looked pretty pedestrian over their last 6. The defense is not the unit that they are supposed to be. At least they haven't been for the first 2 weeks. Now, we get Justin Fields starting for the Bears, as SBAC 222 will tell you. Rookie quarterbacks have not done well in this league, but rookie quarterbacks tend to come in with garbage football teams. Now, the Bears aren't great, but they're not garbage. They can play a bit of defense, and they've got a bit of offense. You're not coming in like in Jacksonville, where the team's just terrible. You're not coming in with the New York Jets. The team is just terrible. Those guys are getting... Now, could Justin Fields have a pile of problems today? Sure, he can. But he's also very, very mobile. He might be able to pick up a couple of very badly needed Bears first down with his feet, and that could be just enough to keep Chicago hanging around because that defense can still play a bit of football. Baker Mayfield is not at 100%. We know that. Run game's pretty good, but the Bears' run D is not exactly as stiff. You're looking for the Bears to lose by a touchdown. I think they can do that quite comfortably if they don't get a ton of mistakes out of Fields. I'm just not that impressed with the Cleveland Browns is really what it's coming right down to. If the Brownies blow these guys out, great. It's week 3, peeps. We always say caution, and we're still evaluating a lot of teams, but the Cleveland Browns have not looked overly impressive. It's too many points for me to lay against a Bears team that could actually give these guys a game. Give me the Chicago Bears plus 7.5. Get the check mark. All right, we got another big spread game for you here. We've got the 1-1 Baltimore Ravens traveling to Detroit to take on the 0-2 Moda City Lions. Bet365. Unofficial lines provider of Irons Perfect Picks. Shows us the Ravens opened on the road as an 8-point play. A little bit of money trickling in on the Leos, who now find themselves as a 7.5-point road pooch. Home pooch, rather. Now, this one here is kind of the exact opposite of the last one. It's the same spread. It's 7.5. And we told you we like the Bears because we think they can play a little bit of football, and we think Cleveland has underachieved. If you look at the Motor Cities, they've played 2 good quarters of football, first half in Green Bay before they imploded. The number against the 4th and Niners week 1 really flattered them. They picked up 2 touchdowns in the last 2 minutes of garbage time to lose by 8, which means they were down by like just a crap ton. The Baltimore Ravens do one thing, and they do one thing very well. They beat up on the weak sisters, and, big win last week for the Ravens. They'll be riding high after that one. I kind of feel sorry for the mamas of the Lions players because these guys could get a beating of epic proportions put on them this week. The Ravens do not take their foot off the gas. They won't in this situation. The Lions, I'll tell you one thing about the Lions. I've actually been quasi-impressed with Goff in the offense. They've put up a few points. But the defense is horrific, and in a quarterback-driven league, Lamar's going to have a field day. This won't be pretty. This is another game that could get away from the Lions real fast. 7.5 points, yep, a lot of road chalk again. But this is a mismatch, and this is another one that looks like it could have easily been in the double-digit range. It's not. It's almost like you're getting a bonus field goal with the Ravens. Give me Baltimore all day long. Less 7.5. Get the check mark. All right, another one we've got. AFC South, what should have been a big match, and it still is a big matchup, but boy, it's the Colts could be in trouble. We got the 0-2 Indianapolis Colts traveling to Tennessee to take on the 1-1 Titans. Bet365, unofficial lines provider of Irons Perfect Picks, shows us that the Tennessee's opened at home as a 5-point play. That number did get down as low as 4 at one point. It's bounced all the way back to 5.5. And the problem you've got there is Carson Wentz is a game-time decision for the Colts. If he goes and can play effectively, we now have a game. The Colts have, by the way, dominated the Titans over the last few years, and these teams have been battling out for division crowns. Tennessee looked pretty good last week. finally got their offense on track. The defense is a major question mark. But if Carson Wentz, boy, and I never thought I'd hear myself say this, if Carson Wentz can't go, the Colts are in big trouble. If he can go and be effective, they can compete at 5.5. You're on the dead number. We like the Colts at that spot. But if Wentz doesn't go, and we don't know yet if he is going or not, then all the Colts are going to be able to do is run the football. And if you get into that matchup against Derrick Henry, as good as that Colts D is, and Colts running game pretty good too, but they'll be overmatched. And you've got a quarterback in the Titans who not everybody's a fan of, but I happen to like Ryan Tannehill. That's just me. The Colts could be going 0-3. So this one, peeps, I'm not really sure what to tell you. I would stay away from it unless you know prior to kickoff. If Wentz is going for the Colts, I'd endorse the Colts less the 5.5. I think they could lose comfortably by a field goal or win comfortably by a field goal. But if he's not going, it's the Tennessee Titans all day. So I have to make a pick for the show. I think if Wentz does go, I'm not convinced he will be effective. Otherwise, I got to go Tennessee. I have no choice. We don't have enough intel, peeps, to make a decision here on this game. But for the sake of the show, we have to make one. I think the prudent play here is the Tennessee Titans less 5.5. I'm sorry, but I'd like to be on the Colts. I think if Wentz was healthy, I would be. Can't be. Tennessee less 5.5. Get the check mark. All right, our next one for you. We've got, and this should be a good one. We've got the 1-1 LA Chargers traveling to Arrowhead to take on the equally 1-1 Kansas City Chiefs. Bet365, an official lines provider of Irons Perfect Picks, shows us Kansas City open at home as a 6.5 point play. Money coming in as expected on Kansas City. They are now a converted touchdown favorite. This game here is going to be relatively simple, and this is going to be how it's going to be for the next little while until Kansas City proves something to us. The Chiefs' defense is worse than we thought. We thought they were, kind of a competitive unit, a little bit soft, but their defense has been masked by how great the offense of Kansas City is. That defense has been exposed for 2 straight weeks now. The Cleveland Browns, pretty good offensive team. Baltimore Ravens, big comeback there. No real shame. But here's the real play on the Chiefs. Now let's understand something about the Chargers. Herbert's world class. The offense is good. Keenan Allen has looked, if you've been watching, we had our eye on that game, of course, right? A lot of game film there because we had the Cowboys +3 against the Lightning Bolts. As you'll recall last week, it's a super exciting game. The Chargers can move the ball against anybody, and Kansas City falls into the anybody category. Like, that defense is not good. And arguably, the Chargers defense is actually a better unit than that of the Chiefs. Now, you want to bet against Patrick Mahomes to win? No, I don't. But with 7 points, here's another thing, peeps, you need to know about Kansas City. I can't remember the last time they covered a football game. I know down the stretch last year, I think they went 0-8 against the spread. They are not which is really weird. Because if you think about how many games Kansas City wins straight up, the fact that now you're paying a premium. You want to back Kansas City, you're paying a premium because they are always super sexy. And I get that. But the point is, 7 points in a division game against a Chargers team that can move the football and whose defense is better, you have to take the points all day until Kansas City starts racking up big wins against half-decent teams. And by that, I don't mean winning 42-35. I mean winning 42-17, and it starts showing some semblance of life on the defensive side of the ball. You cannot lay points with the Kansas City Chiefs. I know all kinds of people are going to disagree with me because it just looks too easy. They don't cover, peeps. They haven't been covering for a year now. You got to get through your heads. Yeah, they win football games. They win close games. And the defense doesn't put anybody away. It's too many points. I'll take the Chargers. I'll take the 7 all day long. Lightning Bolts +7. Get the check mark. All right, we're going to do one more for you. And then we're going to go to the break. And listen, I'm going to say it again, and we have to be concise today. Sure Shot's got anniversary plans. He can't be hanging around here all day. And I hate rushing the peeps but this is a big one. So we're going to give Sure Shot a break on this. Okay, look. The break is so short. You got to be prepped prior to the break. Okay, you had a nice week last week, 2-1. You got a couple of extra bucks. Toss somebody at 20. Can you grab me a sandwich, please? Maybe a cold beverage, whatever. You have to be ready before the break because there's not enough time to sit, and you can't afford to miss us. We all know that. But I got to keep repeating it because for some reason people still miss a minute and then They miss a great pick, and then they lose money, and somehow they're mad at me. Okay, we've got the 1-1 Nolan Saints traveling to New England to take on the 1-1 Patriots. Bet365, an official lines provider of Irons Perfect Picks, shows us that the Patriots opened at home as a 3-point play. The money is coming in on the Saints. It's now Patriots less 2.5. So you've got a Saints team that put the boots to Green Bay week 1. And what was that, 38-3? We had Green Bay on the big board. Remember that? Whew, nasty. Anywho, they went into Carolina last week. Now, we did know that there was COVID problems on the Saints side of the ball. Lots of the coaches were out. And we told you during the show, we weren't sure how that was going to affect the game exactly, but we sort of liked Carolina in that matchup. Now, Winston, who we like, we've told you that, because the guy's fun to watch, right? 50 TDs, 50 INTs every year. Looked great against the Packers. What do you throw, 4 or 5 and no INTs? Came back down to earth with a thud last week. No TDs, 2 INTs. Bill Belichick's team. I would not be sleeping on the Patriots. I told you that the first 2 weeks of the season. Now, rookie quarterback. Now, here's one here where rookie quarterback, this guy's looked okay. Hasn't looked great, but he's looked okay. Because why? Because the Patriots can play defense. That unit of the Patriots, they get no credit. They are one of the best defensive units in this league, and you will see. They've loaded up at the running back position. They can run the football. That takes the heat off your rookie quarterback for sure. We don't know. Now, listen. The Saints, Jekyll and Hyde, week 1 and week 2. We're not sure what we're getting there, but I know what I'm getting with the New England Patriots. I'm getting a smash mouth D, and you've got to watch those guys. See, that's why you listen to the show. Illuminate and educate, because most people, it's always been Tom Brady, so it's always the offense. No, it's the defense, and they were good last year. They're even better this year. Winston, we need a bigger sample size from. Now, somebody asked us last week, I can't remember who, in the mailbag, if with Winston the Saints were the real deal. Yeah, the Saints will be okay. They'll be okay, but they're traveling on the road 2 straight. That's always tough to do. If Winston starts getting pickitis against this Patriots team, they could be in big, big trouble. We think the Patriots are far better than most people think. I get my money's coming in on the Saints because they still are a sexy pick. New England is undervalued at home in this situation. Give me the New England Patriots, less 2.5. Get the check mark. All right, and let's get you to the break. All right, and we are back. How short is that? I keep telling you, so short. You didn't have time, did you? If you're having Doritos, don't go get a bowl. Eat them right out of the bag. They're just, some people will tell you they're even better. All right, we got to be concise. Sure Shot's got things to do. All right, our next one. We've got, and this is going to be a pick your poison type of game coming up. We've got the 0-2 hot Atlanta Falcons traveling to the Meadowlands to take on the equally 0-2 New York Football Giants. Bet365, an official lines provider of Irons Perfect Picks, shows us that the G-Men open at home as a 3-point play. Bit of money coming in on hot Atlanta, who now find themselves a 2.5-point road pooch. Pick your poison, peeps, means basically this. Do you want to lay points with the 0-2 football Giants, or would you rather get all of 2.5 with the hot Atlanta Falcons? Now, remember this game for next week's mailbag when I go over Mulder's questions, because this is one of those games where this is why you gamble on the dun-dun-dun-dun, because if you don't have any money on this, you explain to me why you're tuning into this football game, because it makes no sense. I hate both spots here. I don't say I hate the teams. We don't hate. There's no teams we love. There's no teams we hate. It's strictly about the numbers, but man, do I hate betting on games like this. However, I think there's a prudent way to go here. I told you week 1 that the hot Atlanta Falcons were going to be surprisingly trash. And I know people like hot Atlanta because they still like Matty Ice. They still like the jerseys. They think they're a sexy-looking squad. Yeah, maybe. But the defense is absolute trash. They're right there with the Jets, the Jacksonvilles, and the Lions. These guys will be getting a really nice draft pick. They showed well against Tampa for 3 quarters, but that's Tampa and it's a division game. This one doesn't mean quite as much. G-Men looked pretty good last week. gave the football team all they could handle. Daniel Jones actually showed up for a game. He looked pretty good. Barkley is getting more and more. The Falcons' defense is so bad that as bad as the G-men have looked, they've got some pieces, and the defense is way better than anything Hot Atlanta is putting on the field. 2.5 points is just not enough to endorse. Listen, do I want to lay with the football giants? No. But you've got to look at who it is. Usually my rule of thumb, by the way, when you have two real trash teams going head-to-head and 0 for teams, take the points. 2.5 is not enough for me to endorse Hot Atlanta. I am telling you, they are going to be a train wreck this year. They are going to be worth, and I remember, they lose 3-4-6 week 1 in Philadelphia, and I told you week 1, Hot Atlanta is going to be one of the worst teams in the league, and I am not wrong about that. The New York Football Giants, they got some pieces on both sides. They've competed in their first 2 ball games. They're going to have too much for Hot Atlanta. Give me the Football Giants, less 2.5. Get the check mark. All right, our next one. We've got the 1-1 Miami Dolphins traveling to Las Vegas to take on the 2-0 Raiders. Bet365. Unofficial lines provider of Irons Perfect Pick shows us that the Dolphins open on the road as a 4.5-point dog. Money is coming in on the Dolphins, who now find themselves as a 3.5-point road pooch. Go back to you're never as good and you are never as bad as you looked at. Are the Dolphins as bad as 30-0? No, they are not. Having said that, they've lost Tua, who, on this show, we have not been a fan of since he has started for the Fish. We do like their defense. We like some of the pieces they have. You know what? You're getting Jacoby Brissett today. I can't even say that guy is a downgrade from Tua because Tua's shown me nothing. Now, I know some people are still on this kid. He has shown me nothing. He showed me nothing week 1 in a very lucky win against the Patriots. He was doing absolutely nothing. Got knocked out early, but was doing absolutely nothing against the Bills. Brissett, he looked terrible in relief. And usually what happens, by the way, when you knock out a quarterback early, the guy coming in, if he's any good, and Brissett's played. He's played in this league. Normally you get a leg up with the new quarterback coming in because the defense hasn't practiced for that guy. Brissett was absolute trash. Will he be better this week? Possibly. Here's the problem you got, is Miami cannot move the football. They didn't move it against New England. They certainly didn't move it against Buffalo. And I don't care how good your defense is. If you're on the field 45 minutes a game, you are going to get exposed. Now, what have these Raiders been doing? We talk about the MVP conversation only going into week 3. You'd actually have Derek Carr in that conversation. You would. You look at his numbers. He's thrown for more yards. And I think he's got, 6 TDs? Whatever it is, his numbers are absolutely stellar. As good as the Dolphins' defense is, they're going to be on the field just 2 out. And you know what the pleasant surprise has been for Vegas? Is their defense, which was supposed to be an absolute train wreck, has kind of showed up. Big win on the road against Pittsburgh, shut them down. Great win week 1 against Baltimore. I can't put the Dolphins in the same category as those 2 teams with the play they're getting at quarterback right now. I'm actually a little bit surprised with a backup. Now, some people are looking for a bounce back. I know Cole Edwards in the mailbag had said that Miami were embarrassed. I think he feels they're going to get a big effort. You might, but the Raiders are 2-0, and they've beaten Baltimore and they've beaten Pittsburgh. That's fairly impressive. And if you look at the Broncos, they should go 3-0 today, and the Raiders know that 3-0 is going to be big. Because don't forget, either the Lightning Bolts or Kansas City's losing today. 3-0 is going to be ginormous. I think the Raiders show up big time for this. Can't see how the Dolphins exchange sevens against this team. Give me the Raiders. I'll lay the 3.5. Raiders get the check mark. All right, our next one is what would be considered, I suppose, the feature game of the week. You've got the 2-0 Tampa Bay Buccaneers traveling to LA to take on the equally 2-0, potentially Super Bowl bound Rams. Bet365, unofficial lines provider of Irons Perfect Picks, shows us that the Tampa's open on the road as a 1-point play. That line has not moved. I don't think I need to say much about this game. This is one of those that you either like Tampa or you like the Rams. I don't have to give you a million excuses and a million reasons why one team might be better than the other. We know who Tom Brady is. We know who the defense of the Rams is. Now, Matt Stafford is going to be the wild card in this matchup. Like I said, you either like one team here or you don't. It's a pick'em game against what should be the NFC, which could conceivably be the NFC Championship game. This is September. I'll lean to the home side here. The Rams defense, we know Tom Brady doesn't like to be sat down on his bottom during football games. If the Rams get after him, he can be prone to turn. If you notice, Tom, throws the odd pick every now and again. I'll lean to the hometown side. Now, listen, if Tampa Bay goes in and wins, well, that's not surprising anybody. Consequently, if the Rams win this game, nobody's shaking their head either. Like if this thing finishes 27-24 Rams, that's no stunner. 27-24 the other way. So you got to pick one team here. This one is a pick 'em game. It's going to be a fun game to watch. I'll take the hometown team because I think the Rams are better in September, and I think Tampa's probably better in January, but we're not in January. We are in September. Give me the hometown side, +1. Rams get the check mark. All right, our next one. This one fell into a real tough one to handicap as well. You've got the 1-1 Seattle Sea Chickens heading to Minnesota to take on the 0-2 rock-ribbed Minnesota Vikings. Bet365, unofficial lines provider of Irons Perfect Picks, shows us that the Sea Chickens open on the road as a 1.5-point play. Money coming in on Seattle. They are a 2-point favorite. We know Seattle travels well. So there's never really a concern taking them on the road, based on who they're up against. The Rock Ribbers, on the other hand, were a chip shot field goal away from stunning the Arizona Cardinals at home last week. Tough break for the Rock Ribbers. You got two things going for you here, depending on who you like. If you like the Vikings, Cook should have a field day against the Seattle defense that Derrick Henry, Cook's not Henry, but he's the closest thing you're going to get to him. If you like the Sea Chickens, the secondary of the Vikings is a train wreck. They're a serious concern. But if you look at the Rock Ribbers, I still like Kirk Cousins. And he rallied that team last week into what should have been a win. I still like Russell Wilson, too. This is a tough game, peeps, to pick. I'm going to go with the ground and pound Vikings. They were on the road for 2. Both of those losses by 3 points or less, by the way. So, they could be 2-0. They're not, but they could be. Seattle's defense got really exposed last week against, now it's a quality football team, but they really got exposed in the second half. I think the Vikings can control the football. I think Cook can get himself a real good game, pick up 120, 130 yards. I still like Kirk Cousins. Listen, tough to bet against Russell Wilson. That's a pretty good football team over there. But I think the offense of the Vikings can do just enough in their home opener to squeak one out here by about 3. I think this one's going to be back and forth all day. So whichever team you're on, this is going to be a white knuckler, I think, from start to finish. But I'll take the Vikings to actually get that chip shot field goal this week. You're laying 2, you're getting 2 at home against a team who could win outright. It's the prudent play. Give me the rock rib, the Minnesota Vikings, +2. Get the check mark. All right, we're getting through this quite smartly, and we get down to your Monday nighter. Then we're getting to the big board, and then we will get you out of here. We got the 1-1 Philadelphia Beagles traveling to Dallas to take on, how about them, 1-1 Cowboys. Bet365, unofficial lines provider of Irons Perfect Pick, shows us the Cowboys open at home as a 4-point play. Money is trickling in on the Eagles. It's now Cowboys less 3.5. The Philadelphia Eagles, we mentioned to you in week 1, are also going to be a bad football team. Now, don't get fooled. 34-6 against Atlanta. We told you Atlanta was going to be the worst team or one of the worst teams in the league. Eagles came back home. And Jalen Hurts, we told you, hot and cold. You never know what you're getting with him. Super cold last week because he get hot this week. Hard to tell. You can't count on Hurts. If you look at the Cowboys, we said it to you last week when they played the Lightning Bolts. They were getting 3 points. We said that team could actually win that game outright, which they did. We've also told you the offense of the Cowboys is absolutely stellar. Zeke's starting to look good. Dak is, we're talking again, week 3 MVPs. He is in that conversation already. There's no way I can take Jalen Hurts with 3.5 points. Cowboys home opener, don't forget. That's going to be ginormous. Monday night under the light, and we know Dak is going to show up. Jalen Hurts, not so convinced. The D-line and O-line are the Eagles, are questionable at best. Cowboys defense, we know, is a little bit shaky. But Dak is going to go off big time against this Eagles defense. I think this one's a mismatch, and I think the only reason why this line is this close is because it's a Monday night divisional game. They tend to play these ones tough, but I'm looking at a Cowboys team whose offense is absolutely stellar. The Eagles, I don't know what you're getting with Jalen Hurts, but I am not sold on him right now. 3.5, you get the hook, half point, a little bit dangerous, but we like the Cowboys at home on the Monday nighter. Big D, less 3.5. Get the check mark. All right, peeps, we got to them all. We covered them all. Now to everybody's favorite part of the show. Let's get you to the big board. All right, so we got 3 for you on the big board today, peeps. We are going to put on the square pants today. Didn't work out for us in week 1, did it? We're going back to the square pants today. Hopefully it works out a little bit better. We just have some smallish home favorites who we really like this week. And a couple of dogs we like too, but couldn't rally behind them. Although, you know what? I kind of think maybe the lightning bolt should have been in the play, but we're going to see how that one bears out. All right, so we got 3 favorites for you on the big board. We got a huge road favorite, by the way. We hate laying the big chalk on those guys, but I don't see how we have an option in this one. We are giving you the Arizona Cardinals, less 7 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. We told you that the Jaguars defense is absolutely horrendous. The quarterback rookie is not doing well. Cardinals defense should be able to get after this guy, and you're looking at Murray, who's an MVP candidate. This should be a double-digit spread. You don't have to lay double digits to take Arizona. Cardinals, less 7.5, get the check mark. 2 small home favorites for you. We're giving you the Las Vegas Raiders, less 3.5. Cole Edwards, pay attention. You didn't know Zona, and you didn't know Miami. We're giving you Zona. We're giving you the Raiders. Against Miami, sure, could the Dolphins bounce back? They might. Jacoby Brissett at quarterback, not instilling a lot of confidence against us. Derek Carr, another MVP potential candidate going into week 3. We don't think the Dolphins can exchange 7s with these guys. Defense will be on the field too long again for Miami. Raiders with wins over the Steelers and Ravens, cut above this team here. Give me the Raiders, less 3.5. And our last one for you is the Monday Nighter. How about them Cowboys? Less 3.5 against the Eagles. You know what? There's a theme here, isn't there? We are on 3 MVP candidate quarterbacks. We're giving you the Cowboys, less 3.5. There's no stopping Dak, and the Eagles are not up to the challenge. All right. That's going to do it for us. We got to them all. We covered them all. On behalf of our executive producer, Maddie Sure-Shot Aldershaw, technical producer, the Loch Ness Mobster, sound check technician, DMAC14, Bet365, unofficial lines provider of Irons for Picks, ScriptoBall.com, BarryUncovered.ca, Infinity Printing. Have yourselves a great Sunday, everybody. Allie, we're still thinking about you on your birthday supper today, even though your 30th was the other day. Have a great one, my dear. And, peeps, may all your picks be winners.